before we went on air, we were joking about, the sort of constant demands that everybody denounce Hamas, which is like funny both because it's like, you get the mental image of like, somewhere in like the bombed out rubble of an apartment block in Gaza, somebody's putting together a rocket launcher. They're like, you have to stop now. Katie Halper.
Yeah, exactly.
Has
that's
disavowed
like my
you.
favorite. I mean, that's what's so frustrating is that like I got so angry, and I get so angry when people take the time to condemn Hamas without, like, if you want to condemn Hamas, that's fine, but anyone doing that without talking about what Israel is doing right now with the help of the United States, which is our government. Like, and the idea that
we might be sending in troops.
Yeah, right.
Like
and we give them, like, definitely give them, as at the very least, we give them moral, financial, like logistical, political support to do what they do. And that could, like, if Biden felt political pressure, that could change. Like, they could tell Israel not to do certain things, as opposed to Hamas hearing about Amy Schumer and Michael Douglas signing a letter. They're not going to be like, you know what? I am going to release those hostages now. You've got me. You've convinced me. You've made a really good case.
Yeah, Amy Schumer has a lot of sway. And
that might just motivate them further that they're doing the right the right thing. But I mean, I think I've heard a lot of whataboutism on from Zionists of like why is the American left so focused on Israel's crimes versus some other country
Jenna Friedman did that thing.
Really? It's like, I mean, come on. I mean,
I wonder why.
I mean, there's the material, right, of like all of the money and military support that we give, and then just fucking cultural. I mean, like, I don't like, it's just ridiculous. It's like the same reason you're obsessed with Israel.
Exactly, right.
It just, I mean, I think sometimes when they say things, I'm like, oh, you know what? It actually would be pretty nice if we focused more on this, on this genocide that's happening somewhere else in the world that Americans aren't focused on.
Yeah,
like, well, you're not wrong, but
I did a thread on this where I was like, it's not anti-Semitic to talk more about Israel than other countries, and I was like, we don't support other countries the way we do Israel, and someone was like, what about Saudi Arabia? So I kind of redid it, and I was like, okay, so yes, we do support Saudi Arabia, but we don't support it the way we support Israel. Saudi Arabia is like our mistress. and Israel's like our wife, and we're very public about that relationship. But also, in terms of what kind of narratives there are out there, like, we ignore the Saudis' attack on Yemen, but I'm not worried that, for instance, that someone's going to be like, oh, look at that, like, really civilized, enlightened Saudi, and that really backwards, barbaric Yemeni. Do you know what I mean? Like, where they will do that with a Israeli or Jew and a Muslim or Arab or Palestinian. Like
if we were in a political, look, first of all,
and we don't constantly say that there are our ally. We have unwavering support, unfaltering, and that they're the lone democracy in the Middle East. No one's looking to Saudi Arabia as this beacon of democracy and human rights.
Politicians don't do that. They don't like on the campaign trail say, and you know what? I am, don't worry, guys, in Iowa,
I'm 100% for Saudi Arabia. Yeah,
they're doing it quietly.
No, exactly. And it's like, look, I mean, if the upshot is let's all criticize Saudi Arabia, then sure, yes, fine, I agree.
Right.
Concede, conversation over, right? Like, let's do that. But like, it's but also, I mean, they have and by the way, I mean, I actually think some left politicians are better on Saudi Arabia than they are on Israel already, right? That you look at like Bernie Sanders leading the attempt to get stop the funding, U.S.
with
involvement.
Matt Lee, who I'm sure is not good on Israel. Mike Lee, whatever his name is,
it's not a political third rail the way.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That like he was able to get the Senate to like go, like Trump had to veto that, right? To the attempt to stop the U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen. But also, I mean, if it's not like, we don't live in a political environment where politicians of both parties are constantly tripping over each other to like declare their, fealty to Saudi Arabia.
Who's the best friend, right? Who's a better friend to Saudi Arabia? Yeah.
Yeah. Like anybody who ever criticizes, Saudi theocracy is accused of being an anti-Arab racist or, like, none of that happens, right? So it's like, yeah, it's obviously a different situation. And that's Saudi Arabia. Like Saudi Arabia is like, yeah, no, it actually is like really bad that the United States has supported Saudi Arabia. But like Hamas, it's like, yeah, look, Hamas does bad things. All joking aside, it's like, I think that like anybody who goes so far is like, they're like, oh, I'm not going to judge it or whatever. I think that's too far. I think everybody in the world has like, it's like this idea that it's like, there's, it's like, I don't, yeah, I think all like 99.999% of people who are accused of like, oh, you actually love Hamas have actually condemned some of what Hamas has done. But like, whatever, like, yeah, like, yes, Hamas does bad stuff, but like also, I don't really know what the point is of sitting around talking about that all the time is, considering that the United States is not arming Hamas to do those things and going before the United Nations to say, absolutely Hamas should continue to, rain rockets down on the Great Satan or whatever. It's like, they're not doing that.
I mean, if you believe as I do that, what is Israel's policies toward Palestine, actually probably, I mean, and it's coming out how much, the far right has emboldened Hamas, right? So even if you are anti-Hamas, I think that's reason to question America's relationship with not just Israel but also the far right of it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I saw someone on Twitter was like, "Will you condemn Israel for creating Hamas?" That was good,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and as recently as 2019, right? Haaretz posted the video of Netanyahu speaking to Likud members of the Knesset, being like, no, you guys have to understand, like, if you want to make sure there's no Palestinian state, you have to prop up Hamas. So there's like to increase the divisions between the West Bank and Gaza.
Easier to deal with, right? There was Hamas contained.
Well, also because they wanted to undermine the PLO.
Exactly.
And like this always happens. It's like, we want to undermine the Soviet Union, so we're going to buddy up with, Osama bin Laden. What could go wrong there?
Yeah. You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive postgames on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.